Is Wack 100 his own worst enemy? People in the mob know to keep their friends close and, of course, their enemies closer. Then again, nobody is more surrounded by enemies than Wack 100, the man responsible for getting a brand new enemy every day. It takes a little digging and almost no effort to find out why many believe Wack 100 is the most hated man in hip-hop. He has taken more shots at people than an entire army during a war. And if you don't believe us, here's a quick summary of his long list of battles and beefs. From gang banging to celebrity managing. For those who don't know Wack 100, here's a quick summary before we sum up his countless battles, beefs, and many enemies. Wack is a 40-something-year-old who works as a music manager for artists such as The Game and Blueface, so he hangs around important people in hip-hop. Most people know him not because of his work, but his fights though. That's right, Wack 100 loves going on Instagram or radio shows and talking trash. Some people believe he has tight gang affiliations with the Bloods, and we'll soon get into that. Celebrity antics or a real antagonist? When you learn about Wack 100, as you soon will down below, you can't help but question whether he's for real or just playing around. We're talking about a man who has no problem dissing friends, family, dead folk, people doing life in prison, and anyone who stumbles on his path. At this point, we have an answer for you, but we want you to make up your mind before we tell you what we think. There's something you may be wondering too. Is Wack a true gangster? That question we can answer. Is Wack 100 a real-life gangster? It's hard to say whether Wack 100 is affiliated to a street gang or it's all make-believe to create a gangster persona for clout. Then again, you have to consider Wack runs Cash Money West, a Cash Money Records subsidiary, which is, in turn, run by Birdman. We may doubt Wack 100's gang affiliation, but we won't doubt Birdman, who has more teardrops on his face than a soap opera actress during a sad scene. Nevertheless, we can't know for sure whether he truly belonged to the Bloods or started working for them after joining Cash Money Records. Either way, he at least knows several gang members for a while now, and that may be why he feels like he can fire shots against everyone on Earth. The 100 Wars of Wack 100. Big U. We can't help but talk about Wack 100's beef with Big U because this small-scale war is unusual for the main character of this story. First of all, Wack didn't take the first shot. Second of all, he tried to apologize for the first time in his life. Unfortunately, Big U didn't care about the attempt to bury the hatchet. The funny thing is Big U and Wack have known each other for a long time. Big U ignited the fire after Wack made several unsavory comments towards other people. What was the last straw? It's hard to tell when you have a guy like Wack 100 who's constantly taking shots at anyone who crosses his sight. The interesting part is Big U felt like his relationship was past the point of no return, and remaining a friend with someone like Wack would bring nothing but trouble. Who could blame him? He probably catches Wack taking shots at someone every time he looks at his Instagram feed. Bobby Shmurda. In a hilarious turn of events, Wack 100 took his time to criticize everything about Bobby Shmurda, his music, his dance moves, and his street cred. Of course, he waited until Bobby got out of prison to call him a one-hit wonder and an awful dancer. Then again, this small beef didn't amount to much thanks to Bobby himself, since he didn't care about it. He brushed it off because you tend not to sweat the little stuff after a long stint in jail. J. Prince. If anyone can make hip-hop's ground shake, it's J. Prince. He's responsible for stopping the beef between Kanye West and Drake on its tracks and forcing them to do a concert together. The man has deep connections, there's no doubt about that. And there's also no doubt Wack 100 doesn't care. The back and forth between these two gangsters turned rappers and entrepreneurs included calling each other snitches, fake gangsters, and a few more things that are not PG-13. Wack 100 even took the time to find out J. Prince's son may have snitched on someone to get a gun charge dropped. Jay Electronica and the Nation of Islam. You know about Jay Electronica, hip-hop's enigma wrapped in a mystery, and how close he is with the Nation of Islam, so it's no surprise how he reacted when Wack 100 claimed Louis Farrakhan, the leader of the nation, stole money from a fundraiser. Jay himself tried to check Wack 100 after these comments, calling him all sorts of ugly names. As you can guess, Wack took no time to reply on Instagram and simply called Jay Electronica a man with no hits. And we have a reply ourselves. Come on, Wack. Act 2 would be a classic if the man ever released a CDQ version. Kenneth Lawson. This beef here has a little more substance, so much so that someone went to the hospital over it, and it also shows Wack 100 is not all talk, because he has some hands too. In 2019, Wack punched Kenneth Lawson right in the jaw, knocking him unconscious and sending him to the ER with a fracture. Why did the whole incident happen? Because Wack 100 believed Kenneth spoke to his wife, something he clearly couldn't let slide. There's an ongoing lawsuit because of the fight. Kim Kardashian. So far, Wack 100 talked trash about someone's dance moves, went against a real-life gangster, punched somebody in the face, and now you're about to learn about his relationship with porn. Or, better said, how he saw Kim Kardashian's sex tape, but not the one you know about. Here's the thing. Wack manages Ray J, the second protagonist of what could be Kim K's second sex tape. Don't get your hopes up though. Wack said the video is in Kim's possession, so there's no need to pay attention to this beef any longer. Larry Hoover. Remember how Wack took shots at Jay Prince? There's a reason for that. Jay believes Wack went against his plans to release Larry Hoover to make money off the entire thing. If you don't know, Larry Hoover is the definition of an original gangster. He founded the Gangster Disciples and received a 200-year prison sentence for breaking almost every law: murder, extortion, racketeering, and more. Pick a crime and you'll probably be right. He's now serving 6 life sentences. Even someone like Wack 100 should not tempt his luck against someone serving 200 years. Master P. There are a lot of so-called trigger fingers turned Twitter fingers and social media shots in Wack 100's long list of enemies. The man has more enemies than Tupac during his Machiavelli era. When it comes to his fight with Master P, there's a little bit of classic hip-hop behavior going on. Master P allegedly fired at Wack 100 in a song, and then Wack promptly replied on Instagram. So much for a classic hip-hop beef. Nipsey Hussle. Believe it or not, Wack 100 disrespected Nipsey Hussle after his death. That's right. In an interview, he started to weigh in on whether Nipsey was a legend or not. Never mind his recent death, long career, community work, and more. This controversial manager didn't see how a man as big as Nipsey Hussle could become a big name in the rap game. You can take shots at people, but you should respect those who cannot reply. Or, at least, you can try if you're not Wack 100. 21 Savage. Right at the bottom of a long list of enemies, real fights, and silly arguments, we find 21 Savage. The entire scene can be simply summed up: 21 Savage disapproves of Wack 100's relationship with 6ix9ine, and Wack sincerely replied he'd break his jaw if he ever talked like that in front of him. You can ask Kenneth Lawson if that's a real threat. 21 Savage doesn't like Wack's relationship with 6ix9ine because the former is a gangster and the latter is a rat. Wack 100 replied with the threat of violence because, well, he's Wack 100. Is Wack 100 his own worst enemy? It seems like it, but you have to read between the lines. There's no bad publicity if you make the news, or at least that's what Wack probably believes, and takes that maxim to the limit. Think about it. The man gets more attention, clout, and followers from his antics than anything else. Would we be talking about him if it weren't for his one too many battles against one too many people? Of course, it's not all about fame, fortune, and Instagram followers. Otherwise, he wouldn't have to face a lawsuit for breaking someone's jaw. Then again, after years of playing a character, you might become that character. So, who knows?